Hey YouTube, this is Rifaust. I was going to make a quick video on how I press my comics. I actually got this heat press for my wife for Christmas a few years ago because she does t-shirt iron-ons and different things for her. She sells some things on eBay. But this is a, Pro 5 5-in-1 Tussie 12 by 15 heat press. It was less than $200 on Amazon as a few years ago. So, but I started watching some YouTube videos on comic pressing, and I thought, hey, we have one of those. So I went and bought the materials and things. This is kind of the stack that I use for my comics that I got ideas from other people. I use those Teflon sheets just to prevent any heat damage to the paper products. And I bought an aluminum plate there for the bottom, so the heat, it'll press the bottom of the comic also. The heat will transfer down to that. And sometimes I will humidify the comic before heating it. Not very often because I don't want any water damage, but I use this Extreme Steam Conair, which is like less than 30 bucks at like Walmart or any store like that. So also I got some sandpaper and I sand down the heat plate at the top just to make sure there was nothing sticking out of it, any metal pieces, because you don't want to press that kind of thing into your comics. So I'll kind of show how I stack the comics, and I'll show kind of an example of a comic. So I put a Teflon sheet down on top of the aluminum plate, and then these are magazine size boards, and I'll put a magazine board down, and then I'll put this is copy paper or printer paper, bright white. I'll put that between the cover and the first page and the cover and the back page. And then I'll put a magazine board in the middle at the staples, and I'll cut out an area where the staples are located so that it doesn't press the staples into it. And then I put Teflon back on top. So again, nothing is burnt or anything like that. And that's pretty much the stack. And I'll show you with an actual comic how I do that. I have this comic here. It's when I first bought it when I was a kid, actually off the grocery store shelf. This is Secret Wars 3. And the problem with this is when I was a kid, I like to draw the characters. And so, for example, on this one, you might see some indents in the book where I put paper and traced it. And probably a lot of kids did this when they were young, but back then we didn't really care about the shape of the book, but it has some other problems too. So I'll show you how I press this. So I have it in all the paper and the magazine board. I put a magazine board behind the front cover instead of the paper, because this front cover really needs pressing. So it's basically going to be between two boards when I press it. So then I'll put this magazine board on top, and right now the heat press is heating up. I set the heat press for 165 degrees. That's just what I do. Each heat press is different, and you just have to test yours out if you have one. And I do it for 15 minutes, which is 900 seconds. This heat press, once you press it down, the time starts. So this is going to count down 15 minutes, and I fast forwarded. When this is done, I'll turn it off. 2, 1. So then I'll turn the power off here. And then just to be safe, I unplug it from the wall because, don't want any accidents when this concerns heat. And then we're going to let it sit for 24 hours. So we're going to fast forward, and it's the next morning. So now I'm going to bring the comic out, and then we'll look at it. And it might not get everything out, especially like the spine ticks that are color breaking. You're not going to press that out, but it does pretty good. It might take a few presses to get really big indents out. Yeah, those feet over there, if you're wondering, are a mannequin that my wife uses for when she puts clothes on it to sell on eBay or something. But here's the comic after one night, of heat pressing and then cold pressing for 24 hours basically. And this is what it looks like. It's really hard to show, but it did a pretty good job for one press. You can't really see any of the indents any longer. But anyway, I just wanted to show that. It's just the way I do it. I mean, everyone needs to do it their own way. I'd hate for somebody to ruin a book, but use books that aren't very good condition to test it out. And thanks for watching.